Hello and welcome back to Downloadable Content. Today is Wednesday for me, I think, and I have something pretty exciting. I have the Baron sitting somewhere in the world. We're not going to say where, but he's here with us. So go ahead and say hi, Baron.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Doing great. I always love his introduction. So what we're talking about today is U11. So it's no secret that the U11 Beta is out. But there's some things that surround it that we want to kind of cover today. So Baron, I'm going to go ahead and ask you the first question. I want to compartmentalize this into like a couple of different sections. The first one I want to talk about, U11 itself and possibly some content and some things around there and what you guys are thinking, and then we'll move on from there. So without further ado, I want to kick things off by asking you this first question. So Baron, with U11. How do you feel about U11? I don't not even a you personally think. So you as a community manager, how do you sit with the U11 and being in beta at the moment?
As community manager, I'm delighted because it's been. I generally don't like betas because what it does to mods and stuff like that, and then you often get people opting in, who can be disappointed because, it's buggier than they're thinking and stuff like that. And then, there's confusion. Oh, is it released? Is it released? Is it released? And it's like, well, kind of. But with U11, it's been absolutely amazing. Everyone has been really enjoying it. The feedback we've been getting has been super helpful, super solid. Like just in the weekend alone, we got like almost 800 feedback forms filled out.
Wow.
So we're just trawling through that right now. It's just been fun. Like if you've seen like the subreddit and stuff and the Discord, people are just having fun. It's like an auspicious sign that things will be good for full release. From the Warfrog team side, we're all feeling very good because it means that we knew there was polish needed. We knew there was bugs to be fixed. The way the community has responded to playing it, just the pure enjoyment of getting out of it, makes us just feel good. It's just like great. It's maybe it's not as rough around the edges as we thought, just a layer of polish, and this should be a really good release.
I think it was interesting to include the opted-in community for this beta as almost like a secondary or tertiary opinion. I don't know if people in your, I want to say boardroom, are going to be like, hey, let's do a beta because you think it's too rough, not but because you guys think it's too rough, and we don't think it's that rough. So was that kind of the conversation to kind of get that out there?
Yeah. Like when I say I'm not a big fan of betas too, I mean I am not a big fan of betas. Like me, and again, it's not because I don't want people playing or don't want feedback, but it's because I think, like I say, I think not everyone goes into a beta with the mindset of a beta, and so they go in and they think, well, this is broken, and it just sucks a big bunch of energy and hype out of the update because they're thinking it's going to be worse than it is. But then you get other people on the other side who are like, I just want to play. I just want to see what it is. I don't mind if it's broken, and I get it, and that's great. But when it's a big game like Blade and Sorcery, it's like, that's a lot of people that could potentially be disappointed if the beta wasn't up to scratch. In this case, so in that case, I'd rather let's just do a good update and release like a full update. However, when it was looking like we were just on the fence about like, it's just like worried that there's too many variables here that need feedback. Do you know what I mean? And then also it's like there's so many new systems added in this that it's impossible for them not to have bugs. And in fact, every time we check it, we're finding bugs. So, what do we do? Do we just keep going, working on this, or do we open up into a beta? And then that's what led to the decision. We said, okay, look, we'll just do an informed beta. We'll release. We'll try our best to inform everyone, hey guys, look, there's going to be broken stuff, but that's the nature of beta. Hey, your mods are going to break. That's a beta, and that kind of thing. This one went brilliant. This was probably the smoothest beta I think we've ever had.
That actually brings up two things I wanted to ask, and it's great to ask them now. So the first one, going back to the beta, so you think that's awesome that things are going well and you guys are getting great feedback. It makes me think about U8 and U9, about how there was different iterations of beta. So there was beta 8.2, 8.4 beta, and then up to 9.3. So that being said, are you guys looking to update this beta to say, hey, this is going to be 11.1, 11.2, because we're at this stage, but we're not quite at launch. Is that what you're looking to do with this beta, or are you just going to leave it as U11 beta, get as much as possible, and then work on the back end, and then once it's released, you just release the full thing, or what are we looking at there?
So when it goes into betas, they're their own version. So it would technically be more like U11 B1, U11 B2, U11 B3, and that's like increments of the beta. Whether or not we do that, I'm actually not sure because we're just working through that bug list right now. We're working through the feedback list. Actually, I don't know but anyway, whenever the beta ends, then it will become up U11.0. Okay. And then there definitely will be U11.1, U11.2, U11.3, because that's just the nature of it. So actually, a question I don't really have the answer to is, will there be multiple iterations of the beta? I'm not sure, because as long as everything is not broken, it'll probably just become U11. Mm-hmm. And then, as we get more full feedback from the full release, we'll put, tweaks will be made, and that'll become, 11.1, 11.2. That, same as always.
So this next one is about mods themselves, and I hope this doesn't come off as too critical. I just want to make sure it's kind of out there. So, I think it's no secret that I love Blade and Sorcery, and I think it's no secret that you love Blade and Sorcery.
Yep.
And when it comes right down to it, a lot of people just straight up love mods. They love their mods. Mm-hmm. So do you ever worry that with these new updates, with U11, sometimes people care more about the mods than they do about the mainstay of the game, and they don't really stay on the mainstay for that long, and they say, hey, let's throw this mod in here, and it goes along that line, and it's like some of the hype gets like undercut by the mods themselves?
No, I don't think that, because there wouldn't be mods without the game. Mm-hmm. And the game is designed to be modder friendly. It's not like the mods come out of nowhere. Like they're working in conjunction with the SDK, which is built by Warpfrog to be as modder friendly. And even on our own Warpfrog chat on Discord, the guys are always talking about, we should do this and this and this because this will help modders. Oh. And then cost people like, yeah, okay, add that. And so, the game is built with modders in mind. And, that's no secret from us that we want that. That's great. Modders are amazing. And, Cosby himself was a modder. Like, I don't even get the mentality of anti-mod games. Maybe there's a sense that maybe some developers feel threatened by mods, but from our perspective, it's like if there's guys out there who are fans of your game, and they're such big fans that they're making content for free, and this is real work. Like, this is actual work they sit in front of a computer. They're making mods for players, other fans and players to enjoy. How can you hate that? Like, that's incredible. So no, there's no like ego about it or anything. If that's what you mean, like no, like the modders are insane good, and we've even hired a bunch of them. So.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of going with that. Actually, is it wasn't supposed to be a trap card. It was funny to bring it up. Like that.
No, absolutely. Like completely love modders. We've never looked at it that way. I play mods all the time, although sadly I'm completely out of the loop on what the latest and greatest mods are, just because I've been so busy with U11 stuff. But no, man, I play mods all the time, like we all do.
So U11 in beta, we're rocking hard. We're giving you notes on notes. I'm installing mods, so I can't really help you that much. I'm that guy. You know me. I'm that guy. But that being said, as far as U11 and U11 Beta, I wanted to talk about some cut content that was potentially supposed to make it to U11 or the U11 Beta that sadly has fallen onto the floor or pushed to the next update.
Well, the only thing I can think of that's not in it is our character artists had done a variety of different player customization stuff, like faces and skin tones and hairs and beards. And they're actually done. They're completely done and ready to roll. They're just not integrated into the game yet. And the reason they're not integrated into the game yet is really simply we ran out of time. So I chatted with Cosby about this, about a week ago, or I think it was even before we launched the beta. because it dawned on me. I was like, oh my god, we're like we haven't put in the character customization stuff. But he was saying like, yeah, let's just roll out the beta. We can add it in later. So I would expect it to be added in one of the U11.x, patches. To go back to those little patches I was talking about. That is the only content I can think. Was there anything else I'm forgetting that didn't make U11? I think everything else did make it.
Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think back to our last conversation, but no, I feel
yeah,
like it did.
that is a big one though. Because that was one of the things that we said was going to be new 11.
Oh, I remember what you said. And I quote the Baron himself. Get ready,
Yeah,
get ready. Here we go. Online co-op.
yeah.
So I want to move on to the combat, starting with U11. What type of feedback have you gotten so far? I know you mentioned last time that the combat was going to be a work in progress because there's new animations and theoretically a new brain for how the NPCs were using them. Like I noticed the guy with the rapier, like he was trying. He tried to use that rapier. And I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
slow down, guy. But it seemed like it introduced like we talked about some bugs. Yeah, with the new animation. So I kind of want to talk about combat right now, especially on the U11 beta. How do you currently feel about it?
Yeah, this is this would be the animation overhaul I'm always talking about, and this is just the beginning, as I keep saying, because I don't want anyone to look at me like, oh, this is like no, we're this is the beginning of the work in progress. But already I'm really happy, and the feedback has been great, so that makes me really relieved. That players are on the same page as us, that we're going the same direction. Like we had one question on the feedback forum was, compared to U10. How do you feel about the combat? And on a scale 1 to 10, 5 being the same as U10, overwhelmingly, it's in favor. So that's great. The players are in favor of the change they're making, and it's not like a complete overhaul in the sense that it's built from scratch. But what the idea of it is it was trying to make the combat feel a little bit more fluid, like the AI can chain attacks together in a way that is as least janky as it can possibly be, and parry a little bit better. And that's probably the area that I'm most like pushing for polish on right now, because there's still a lot of holes there. Like you could still with attacks that come in like too far kind of on the horizontal, the enemy still is not the best. He still can't really defend himself effectively. It is what it is. I mean, this is it. We're going to keep tweaking and keep working on it. But yeah, the chain attacks and stuff I'm really enjoying. Yes. I think they're working out great. And there's still some other little stuff there, like I don't know how much you played, but the enemy kind of get these little hesitation bouts. They're almost too paranoid that are about to be attacked. Yes. And so they kind of hesitate, and it can lead to a little bit of standoff kind of behavior. So this is all stuff we're going to be tweaking.
And when I think about, I have two follow-ups. When I think about the difficulty, right? Currently, let me take a step backwards. I know some of your guys' philosophy is, it's still a high concept role play fantasy for the character, right? They're always going to be more powerful than the NPCs, which is great. I also wonder if it also has that like original Assassin's Creed moment where each one waits to attack you one by one. Is there ever going to be a moment where two of them feel brave and they both come at me at the same time, and it's one's attacking low while the other one can attack high? And, can we see something like that happen?
I really don't remember what the kind of design decision was, or when it was. I think it was going back. Would it be U8 or maybe even U7? But the gist of it was players didn't like being attacked by 5 guys, and I didn't either. Actually, it wasn't as fun as you think it would be, and so I guess whatever decision was made, they eased up on it, but even then, I couldn't really tell you. That'd be more of a question for Cosby or one of the guys working on that.
The other one about AI, and then we'll move on from AI after this one. Are you familiar with the Sorcery mod?
Oh yeah, and that modder.
Cool. Is there any way in the future that we can see something like Sectory be incorporated with the main game, or would you rather leave something like that as a mod?
My opinion would be, and this is just my opinion, but my opinion would be it would be better as a mod because it makes dramatic gameplay changes. For example, it bumps up the NPC health to something like I can't remember, but it was something like 200% or something like that, which for me it's like that's too much, but for other people they want that, so it's kind of like the perfect mod. And then there's other stuff that, like, I think Sectory had like neck snapping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're really, really cool features to have in a mod, but if they were to be incorporated into the game, they would really have to be like super polished, and like there would be a lot of considerations. But when things are in mods, it's kind of like you can kind of get away with more. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like because it's the mod, So there would just be like considerations like that. So you never know. You never know what features might make the final cut, but it wouldn't just be a case of like taking the mod and just like quote unquote incorporating it in. Like it doesn't really work that way.
It reminded me of our last conversation that it made it into U11 from one of the modders. I forgot who you said it was, but they inspired the hand over mouth, or it was based off of a Reddit post. I think he said hand over mouth, and that made it in because it was like, yeah, why not? That sounds cool. A big part of Sectory that is super popular, and when you marry it with the non-snapping limbs, I wonder why that's not a feature of the game. So I know Dismemberment's already in there. Like, I'm fighting a guy, I chop off his left hand. In vanilla Blade and Sorcery, I chop off their left hand, and it's an instant kill. Versus in Sectory, we can lop that bad boy off, and the character's like, no problem, I got another hand. Is that possible to do without a mod, or is it still like, it's easier to, if dismemberment occurs, it's an instant death?
It's just one of those things, that it's like it's just better suited as a mod, I think, or if we were going to do it, we really have to think about it. Like, for example, when you cut off the limb, what kind of effects do you have there? In a mod, you can get away with nothing because it's just a mod. But we would really have to think about that kind of stuff. And then there's other things like, I don't know if it would really make sense, like I don't really know if it would make sense that a guy gets his hand cut off and he keeps going at you, Like, if anything, if it was up to me, I would probably have it that the guy gets his hand chopped off, and then some other animation plays where he's nursing his hand.
Oh my god!
And he either falls to the ground, and there's like a little time up before he dies, or he retreats and escapes. That would be my take on it. And like, if we lifted the Sectory limb cut, what about animations? Like, how would it work with how the enemy is fighting? Again, if it's in a mod, who cares? Because no matter what kind of jank pops up, it's okay, it's just a mod. But if it happens in the vanilla game, then there'll be a lot of like, oh, this is terrible looking, or this has problems, or this is. So that's why it's kind of just good as a mod,
So this next one I'm super excited about, but I want to mildly yell at you. Does that make sense? Let's talk about the staff. Okay, so the staffs, I love them. Everyone loves them. Gravity on staffs, oh my god, so cool. All the hidden things that you guys did, so flippin' cool. Now, one of the big things that was a surprise to me, I think I did in one of my videos, and I was half kidding, but I was like, no. So it inspired me to make my own mod, and I'm working on it, but we'll see what happens. But I wanted to talk to you. Maybe I don't have to make it. Why can't you use the gravity on staff to lift an NPC? What happened? Talk to me about that. Why did that game not make it?
I agree with you. How about that? I agree. I said the exact same thing. I said this was the first thing I wanted to be able to do when I realized I could do this. I wanted to be able to lift the guy. It's natural. It's instinctive. So 100% agree with you. I think the reason it didn't make the cut was just because maybe there was some technical issue. Like, maybe it was more janky than you realize. Or it could have been that to get right down to like the technical aspect of it, which is that items are items and creatures are creatures when in Unity. So maybe there's some coding craziness there that's not so easy to have it pick up a creature as opposed to pick up a thing that's classified as an object. That's probably the answer. But I'll look into that, and I'll try and get the answer. And And then even better, I'll keep pushing for let's try and pick up creatures. Let's
That'd be
try and
cool.
figure out a way to add this to the game because that would be great.
Well, I know Blade and Sorcery kind of has like a spinning situation when you interact with creatures still.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I know, and
Could be that. Dude,
yeah,
and by the way, dude, literally was talking to one of the teams this morning about that spinning thing. We're working and we're trying to figure that out. But that's literally the conversation I had this morning at work. What's the status on the spin? Just
yeah.
telekinesis spin.
Yeah, there is a modder that I think figured it out for U10. I apologize to the modder. I don't remember who it was specifically. I wish I had that written down. But it seemed like they kind of handled that, and it was pretty
Yeah.
impressive. It was, you can grab them. They weren't spinning.
Man, if you can figure out what mod that was, let me know because actually that was one of the things I was chatting about this morning. I was saying, God, I vaguely remember a mod releasing that said it fixed the spin, and for the life of me, I can't remember what mod it was. But rest assured, one of the guys is like I was saying, that was literally the conversation we had in the meeting this morning about.
So certain bugs. Well, have players kind of brought to light certain bugs that you did not expect to already see? Some of them that comes to mind are, I think I saw it. I almost went Baron in there when I said R. Wow, you inspiring me. Uh, are when you're putting the night glove in the right hand, that falls down.
Oh
But
yeah,
also one of the biggest ones, I think, is the skinning knife. When you put the
yeah,
skinning
yeah, yeah.
knife on person, or if an NPC spawns with the skinning knife, you cannot take it from them.
Yeah.
From Or I think if they spawn with it, they don't even fight. Like they're just like, oh no, where's
Yeah.
my weapon?
Yeah, that was probably the most surprising bug, actually, and probably the most commonly reported bug was the skinning knife, because it's just flat out broken. And then there was a variety of clothing bugs, which I wasn't too surprised about, because even when I was recording the beta video myself, I was hitting clothing bugs, and we'd been chatting about the night before about, oh hey, there's some issues in clothing, but we had anticipated, look, when it goes to the beta, people will tell us exactly which clothes are broken, and then we'll just be able to quickly knock these out. So let's just go for it. So that wasn't too crazy. The bunny hop that lets you fly, that was a surprise. Yeah, that's a fun bug while it still exists.
But yeah, I saw that even in U10, like even with no mods, it just can randomly happen. Like it would be
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
you could play 18 sessions, and then randomly out of nowhere, it's like, here you go.
Yeah, usually it's like I've definitely seen that through history of the game. It's usually like if you grab such an object weird and then like jump off a wall or something, and you can fly. But this one was weird. This one was if you just spam the jump button, you just fly. So
Right.
that was unusual.
I
Um,
think, sorry to cut you off.
no, no worries.
I haven't reported this just because I had, like, even when it happened, I had one or two mods installed. But even in the vanilla version, if you grab an NPC and jump at the same time, the NPC automatically like falls to the ground and your hands stretch. Have you seen that?
Oh, no,
Like,
but I saw that in one of the feedback reports on this beta. Yeah. Okay, that's something that'll have to be added to the list now. But yeah, one of the worst bugs I think I saw was I got a bunch of reports. There's a room in the dungeons that when you walk into, your screen goes white, which that's not good. So,
white, huh?
yeah,
It's
it's
not
just
just
like
it trying to load the tile set and it
no.
just goes white.
No, the whole room goes white, and then when you leave the room, you're back to normal. So it's like the room itself is broken. So some of the guys are working on that. But then there was also, there's a lot of bug reports that actually weren't really bug reports, like the people saying, "Oh, I can't move. I played the tutorial and I can't move." And in actual fact, it's like, yeah, that's correct because your movement is frozen for the first few seconds to encourage you to read the text that says, not you won't have all your skills and stuff. And then the other common bug report that's not really a bug is people doing the tutorial and saying, I can't access my spells, I can't access my inventory. And again, that's not really a bug, it's just that you haven't completed the tutorial to unlock them. So although they're not bugs, they're still good feedback because it means that people are getting confused with the tutorial. So we're going to
Yeah,
try and...
do you find that tutorial, it was all vet players that just dove right in and opted for the tutorial and then they were upset that it's
yeah.
there? So,
Statistically, we have that. In fact, on the report, I have it right here. 77% of people who have gave feedback out of almost 850 responses, 77% are veteran players, played Blade and Sorcery a ton. 22% are familiar with Blade and Sorcery, so they play kind of around big updates, and then a tiny sliver, I don't even know what, less than 1% are new players.
Wow.
So from the feedback form, it's kind of nice because this is veteran players we're talking about. So if a veteran player is getting confused, it means we probably have to be more explicit in describing things.
Well, I guess for lack of a better term, why did you opt in for the tutorial?
It was always on the cards. We'd always planned it. Just because a day is going to come when the game goes 1.0 and you will get new players just being like, dumpty dumpty dum, oh, what's this game? And, if they haven't followed Blade and Sorcery along, they might not know all the bits and bobs and mechanics of how everything works, because it's just that kind of game, It's just there's a lot of surprising depth in it, that you might not think. So yeah, it was always on the card.
Yeah, I think in full disclosure, I skipped the tutorial just because I didn't want to be like, I didn't want to. I don't know what I didn't want. And then when someone asked me to use the inventory system, I'm like, duh, inventory system. I totally know that's in the game. So it took me at least 10 minutes to figure that out. And then when I got the inventory up, someone yelled at me. They're like, no, it's in your book. So I opened the book, went into inventory, then I changed all the settings. And then when I went to go use the inventory, I'm like, it's not working. I don't know how to use this. Now I know how to use it. But it was now that I know how to use it, it's awesome. Being able to just grab an apple out, grab that zip line, it's fantastic. Maybe don't add the option for me to change how the buttons work for the inventory. Once I changed, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I think you might be pretty unique though, because I think most people wouldn't change the UI without checking it out.
That was Baron's nice way of telling me I'm stupid.
Because to be honest with you, I actually love that. Like, I'm always pushing the guys to say, hey guys, make this a toggle, because I love customization. So like, to be able to completely just mess around and make a design whatever way you want, I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of being able to turn off every and any piece of HUD or UI.
Yes, I do appreciate
I love that you can like switch up your controls and stuff in different ways. And so I'm the big fan of customization. So yeah, you definitely got kind of screwed, but but I would imagine most players, if they're unfamiliar with it, they probably wouldn't mess with the options. But maybe I'm wrong. So we'll see.
Okay. This last one, and then I have to get into the community questions. I don't want to. I noticed it in your own video for U11. I noticed it in mine, and I noticed it in other content creators. So for me, when I go into edit, I have to, after I chop it up and it's edited, and a lot of spots where there's shadows and everything, because spectator mode and headset mode are now almost two completely different things from Blade and Sorcery U11, where it is way too dark for the spectator, where literally in post I got to be like, yeah, if I'm in a cave, or if I'm in even in your player home, I know, even if, like for your own video, kind of watching that back, like when you're near like your spawn book, or you're not near where a torch is or anything like that, it's almost like too dark for the spectator. But in the headset, everything looks fantastic. Like you're walking through your caves, even if you don't have a touch and you're near those. I said touch instead of torch. If you're near the torch, it's fine. But when you're near, like, in the headset, if you go near like the glowing mushrooms, it looks good. But when you go into the spectator or it's recorded, it's very dark. Do you know?
Now, when you say spectator, do you mean like when you press F2 and you have like the desktop mirror? Is that kind of what you're chatting about?
Yeah, like so. Yeah,
gotcha.
Exactly. So
Okay,
if I say, yeah, exactly. Let's say I use OBS to record. I just say, hey, capture my desktop. Yeah, it's two totally different things. But in the headset, everything's better. Case in point is headset. If I jump into the water now, which is awesome, by the way, thanks for including water physics, fantastic. But when I'm swimming around in the water in headset, everything's like, it's foggy, it looks dope. And then to the spectator, it's just like, you just went under a texture, dude. I could see everything so clearly. I mean, I know that's more of a selfish thing for me, just because I know.
Yeah, I have to investigate that. Honestly, I really didn't notice. The one thing I can think of straight off the top of my head why it might be different in terms of brightness between the headset and the mirror is because the brightness of the game can be adjusted in your headset. So, like for example, I have an index, and I love how black the blacks are in the index. But some games, it's like, oh my god! Like I was playing the Star Wars game on the the Vader Immortal.
Yep.
My God, it's just jet black. Like it's just in the index, it's just jet black. But you can go into your options in the index of the headset itself and like crank up the brightness. So in that sense, like the headset is kind of like overwriting the brightness of the game, yet the mirror is not subjected to the same brightness tweaks in the headset. Does that make sense?
It does. It's just that for the jump from U10 to U11 was immediately noticeable, especially in recordings.
Gotcha. That I do not really know about. I'll have to look into that. I honestly did not even notice that myself. I'll have to check into that.
Cool.
Oh, maybe it's in some way related to, there were some changes where you can do post processing. Which, by the way, you might want to look into that actually for your own videos, because it might be cool. I don't know, but if you go into the options, there's you can set it to like filmic mode, high contrast, and then of course modders are definitely going to be making.
Well, you did mention that. So in the game, oh my god,
it's so cool, man. I really like the high contrast setting myself. Cospy's more of a vanilla. He always kind of likes kind of neutral colors, neutral textures, or neutral kind of light and stuff, and blacks and whites. Mm-hmm. And whenever we're doing trailers, because my background is video and a color correctionist, I'm always pushing for like blacks, whites, and he's the one who's always like, nah, let's just leave it like neutral, and I'm always dying because I'm like but yeah, now we have actual in-game post-processing presets, so check them out. They're just fun to play with, but it also might make for interesting videos, like it might make your videos look a little bit cooler. So yeah, cool. Check that out. But anyway, my point was maybe that's what caused the change. I really don't know. I'll have to investigate that. If I get an answer, I'll let you know.
Cool. All right. So in closing, I'll be executed if I don't do this. There's some community questions. Now, there's a ton of them. I'm not going to ask you all of these ones, and I'm not going to ask you the ones that don't make any sense. So some of the ones that I think were pretty interesting. One of them, I guess one of the first ones, is from someone named, I don't even know. I love to play Medal of Honor all day. Anyway, so their question is, is the game ever going to go in the direction of quote unquote realism, like a version without that much lore, and can we ever swim? So I don't know where they're going with the first one. Maybe I kind of want to even erase that first part and get to where it says, can we ever swim? So now that there's like water physics, I tried, like I was pretending I was swimming, but I had to turn on like the wings mod to make it happen. So it seems like once I get in the water to get your super secret Easter egg that I don't want to spoil. Yeah, like something around swimming. So now that there's water, can we realistically swim? So
this is funny. Technically, there was swimming, and we omitted it because it wasn't done. So basically, when we were messing around with this, it's the classic. Cospy rabbit hole where like it's supposed to be one small thing, and then Cospy's like, we let's pad this out, but we were already coming so close to the U11 release that we put a cap on that. So then it's like, okay, the player just sinks. It was originally that you could spam the jump button and you could bob along, and it was really, really cool. But then it was like, that's just not good enough. So it was kind of like, maybe if we're really going to do swimming, there should be like hand motion involved. It's a bit like the sectory thing again. It's like, if we were going to do it, we really have to think about it, and not just have it that, you can spam jump to swim. So it's like, I'm hesitant to say because it's like, I would love to do it and see it like in the game. And I know Cospy would love to see it in the game. And I'm sure everyone would love to see it in the game. But it's like, if we were going to do it, we would really have to think about it and do it properly. So
like I was hoping the arms, just like how you have sprinting, like the way sprinting works.
Yeah.
And if I could, just like with your new gravity jump,
exactly,
that's how I pictured it happening. And if it can happen like that, then I feel like jumping might feel weird. To be honest with you, it was still tons of fun to be able to jump in the water and swim around. But yeah, I would love to see it like there was some arm motion involved,
I don't know. Maybe there would be some effects, VFX involved there. I mean, I don't want to sound like it's easy to do because I'm sure it'd be really, really crazy to do like water, effects. But it's not even like a planned feature. So I'm hesitant to say, but yeah, we all agree it would be bloody amazing. And whether or not it makes it, let's just see. I guess it'll be one of those things too. Like if the fans are saying like, "Oh, we really, really, really want swimming," well then maybe we would think about that hard. So let's see on that.
Underwater combat, that'd be dope. That'd be dope.
Oh, dude, yeah, tell me about it. And the other thing too is how when you saw that ocean, how much did you wish you were in a boat sailing around?
I'll have you know that I downloaded a mod that can help you do that. But yes,
Yeah,
and I was almost not mad at you guys, but when I jumped on the boat and I couldn't move it around, I was like, "Damn it! Come on,
I know, man. It's like I want full boats on waters. I want oars to be able to sail this boat. This is the problem with Blade and Sorcery, because you add one thing and then it just unlocks like 50 more things you wish you could do.
Because Blade and Sorcery is that game where if you can see it, you feel like you can do it. So it's like,
Dude.
why can't this happen?
Dude, you were spot on, and that's totally the philosophy I'm always saying, is that a lot of times people look at it and dismiss it as an action game. That's the classic like, where's the game? They're thinking about it wrong. It's not that it has action, absolutely. I mean, it's on the store page, an action game, but it's not just that. It's a simulation sandbox, but think about like a simulator. Think about it like that. Like when you sit in like American Truck Simulator or like a plane, an airplane game, it's a simulator. It's a simulation of what it feels like to be a pilot, okay? Or it's a simulation of what it feels like to be a truck driver. So when you take it into VR and you think about something like a simulator, well, now there's a tangible element, which is I want to be able to touch things and, quote unquote, feel things, push buttons, pull levers, right? So Blade and Sorcery, it's like a medieval guy in a fantasy world simulator. That's the gist of it. So our philosophy is, if it feels like I should be able to do it, I should be able to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly it. So it's all part of the experience. I saw this great video someone posted on Reddit, and it was just this little video. He exits his home or whatever, has an apple, he takes a bite out of his apple, just takes a look and breathes in the ocean, the new home exterior, and it's like, that guy gets it. That guy is exactly, eating an apple is not a feature. Like, that's not something you can mark on a game. It's like, hey, you can eat an apple. But it is part of the Blade and Sorcery experience, because it's all about a sense of like, I'm part of this world. This is another world, and I'm part of it.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
The best thing I can attribute to that one is, without being disrespectful to anyone, is that there's going to be people that don't get it. Smooth brains, whatever. But if they don't get it, they don't get it. There's other games for them. I'd like to think that Blade and Sorcery is for everyone. I feel like I can be in the Blade and Sorcery world until my headset dies or until I die, and I'm like whatever. But for those, there are some people out there that they do need some hand holding, or I guess lacrimose, some guidance. Say, hey, go fight that boss over there. Here's a million quests on your screen. Some people need that. I think it's the minority of people, and I think the majority of people love the nuance of Blade and Sorcery, which leads me into my next question. It's not like I'm derailing. So it leads into my next question, is this. You guys introduced the thing in the player home that spins. What the hell is going on with that, Baron? I forgot who asked that question, but you made it to U11 and there's nothing happening there. You could spin it. The door opens now. What's going on?
At this point, should I even spoil it, or should I just
no?
Keep guessing?
We just want to be assured that it's not forgotten about, and especially now on the player home near a cave somewhere. I'm not going to spoil for anyone. There's somewhat. It seems like those two things interact with each other.
Okay, I'll tell you this then. It's not forgotten about. It definitely has a purpose.
Okay,
but its purpose is yet to be revealed. That's what I was like. So don't worry, we haven't forgotten. A day will come.
That's how we unlock multiplayer. I got it. Once we figure that out, that's the multiplayer board. It makes sense now.
Yeah, don't even joke. But yeah, no, don't worry. A day will come when all will be revealed. But it's so funny because I see all these players like shoving cups in it. And spinning it, thinking there's some way to like. No, I'm sorry. There's no way to activate it. But someday, all will be revealed.
Excellent. So someone asked, Drone Puppy asked, will there ever be like a vanilla crossbow in the game, like a one-handed or two-handed crossbow?
That's a great question. There's no plans for it, but I would like to see it. And it has come up in chats with Warprog before. I think the hesitation really is just like doing it really well. I think that's just it. And it's like, it's It's just a case of getting one of the guys to sit down and work on it. But there's a lot of considerations. Like if it was a crossbow, I'd really want to be able to. I'd want it to be fully interactable. Like operate like a real crossbow. Pull the thing back. Wind it up. Put the bolt on. So yeah, it's just a case of I think someone would really have to just sit down and do it. And at the moment, because things are so busy, there's no plan for it.
Okay.
So let's see. Let's see.
Wait and see. Another person asks, will we see new rooms in dungeon mode? And I don't know how much of a question. I mean, it's a direct question, but I think currently you guys have a dungeon bug preventing some rooms from loading at the current moment. So I think maybe this question is, are we going to see like different tile sets? Which I think in just a couple of playthroughs, I did see some new tile sets were awesome, but I think that there's a current bug that stops certain things from loading. So
you're totally right. There it is. Yeah, there's a bug right now that, and literally again, this was this morning. I saw the guys chatting about this. There's a bug with dungeons being like shorter than they're supposed to be. So I think if you pick like 3-star dungeon, it comes up as a 1-star dungeon no matter what, which means that you're going to get a lower pool of rooms spawning, and you're not going to get some of the bigger rooms like the the fighting rooms, where the horn goes off and everyone pours in. So yeah, that's being worked on. There is a couple of new rooms added. Yeah, you're right. Not too many though, because that wasn't really a big part of U11. But by full release, we're hoping to add a ton more rooms, and plus some surprises. So
some surprises, Baron. Does that mean you added my traps idea? Don't answer that question. But,
no, I will answer that because I don't want to upset. No traps. I'm sorry. I did bring it up after we chatted last time. I brought it up. We discussed it. The same old story. It was the same figures and apprehensions of we chatted about last video.
I'm gonna fight back one more time. One more time.
I'm with you.
Hear me out. Hear me out. U11. Sometimes you spawn on the beach, right? And you have to climb up. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first time you do it, cool. The second time, it happened, and then the third time, you're like, "Damn it! Why can't I just spawn up top?" And then you're in the rooms, and you have to swing on the light, the chandeliers almost. You swing to the next one, cool. When it happens, and then exactly what you said about some of the other ones. So those still exist. It's still in there. So I feel like that's kind of a scapegoat to not get traps in there. I'm just gonna do a wag of my finger at you, Baron. Just one single wag of my finger.
No, it's not like that. It's the other considerations that we've mentioned last video, and I'm with you, man. I feel like traps are a part of dungeon splunking. Like that's what I think of that. I'm the same, but we would have to get around those other considerations, and I guess it could just be the case that well, look, the development is already so busy, it's so cramped packed, we're already running late. That do we really want to think about how to solve this problem with traps? So maybe we'll return to it one day. But I'm with you, man. I'm in favor of it. I like the idea, and I know there is complications, but I would love if we could come up with solutions to those problems.
So I think the final part, I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone, and we somehow did the classic us and made it an hour. But the last one, there's so many questions. I'm going to hit you with a speed round, if that's okay. And
short answers.
Okay, very short answers, this one. Here we go. Here's the first one. Has development on Crystal Hunt started? And if so, how far along is it?
No, it has not. And it won't start until U11 is done.
Next question. Wow, will we get more customizable clothing, like having the options to use right hand, night glove, and I think you could already do this. Am I wrong?
You can already do that.
You can already do that. Boom. Yes, you can do that. Checkmate. Has the Warp Frog team been taking on modders more often as far as the contracting or hiring them?
Yes, it has. Yeah.
Cool. Can we get the medieval mega pack as a built-in feature?
No, because there's too many. Yeah, okay. Well, we could go into that another day, but there's a lot of reasons we can't.
What half sorting? Can we get better half sorting for certain weapons, like being able to do the Mordhau grip and things like that? Or
I don't know what the blockage is. It actually came up in the conversation, really, and I think the issue was that it was causing too much jank in half sorting. But I actually honestly don't know the what is the real reason we're not doing it? Is it because of that, or is there some other technical reason? I don't know, but it did come up recently.
So this person may not know that there is a new spell coming out, maybe not in U11, but they said, will there be any new spells? So it's no secret that you guys are working on Soul. Will there be any other spells past that?
I believe, because this was always the plan, and I don't think the plan has changed. I think it just has to be done. I believe the plan is that we'll keep doing merges for a cross elemental spell. As far as I know, because that was always the plan. So, like, for example, you could merge fire and electricity and then create some new effect.
This is an interesting question, but I don't answer it too much. We're in speed round here.
Okay.
So is there possible player imbuement? That would be cool. It'd be like, could you use lightning to make your body move quicker? Gravity can alleviate weapon attacking. Is that possible?
That has not been discussed, and so I don't think that's ever come up before. So I'm going to say no on the basis that it's never come up, but that's pretty interesting. I don't know. I'm not sure how that would work exactly.
Cool. This is a very interesting one. I figure I'm going to ask this one. Can we have multiplayer? I'm just kidding. Can we have hair when we wear your hat in the future update?
I love that that's the question. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know what's going on there. I'll add it to the bug list. I don't know what the problem is there. That's funny.
This one is by someone named Nitro, but they said, I think this is an interesting one just because half the community are psychopaths. Any more improvements on the gore and bloodshed?
Well, it's all like the blood was revamped for U11 if I'm not mistaken. That, yeah. But they might mean like blood, guts and stuff like that, or and in which case no, there's still no plans for like super duper gory, guts spilling out and stuff like that.
Can we have a wave book near the player home to fight off enemies in the home island?
That's a good question. I think that is not going to happen in the vanilla game, but I guarantee you there'll be a mod for that.
Next question is an important question for U11. Where's Jonathan? Where'd he go?
He's there. He's there.
Why is he not in the player home? He's not even on the island.
Did you notice that we put a little chicken coop at the back?
No. So can
check that out. Okay. So there you go. We love Jonathan.
It's a simulation question. Will there be fishing?
Well, my question back would be, would you like to see fishing?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's the classic thing. Okay, it's a simulation game. If enough people were like, we want to see this, we would be more inclined to make moves on that.
Because you put a javelin in the game. It's
exactly.
A javelin.
And we have this beautiful ocean. Exactly.
And an ocean. Exactly. So I want to be able to fish in two ways. I want to cast the pole and reel it in. That'd be dope. But imagine just jumping in the water and be like, okay, stabby stab. And
exactly. So man, it all goes back to the whole thing we were chatting about at the very start, the sectory thing, which is if we were going to do it, we'd want to do it really in depth. So let's say if we did have fishing, exactly like you said. Okay, now we got to figure out working fishing rods, because I want to. If it's a simulation, that's what I want. I want to be able to reel in the fishing rod and stuff like that. I want to be able to stab fish with javelins. We'd have to add fish, like that would be a whole thing. We'd have to figure out how to add that. What about things like gravity? Like how would that work? Maybe I would want to be able to lift fish with my gravity.
Oh my God.
Out of the water. What happens if I cast a gravity bubble? Maybe I don't know. Maybe fish float out of the water or something. What about fire? Now we have an eating system. Now I want to be able to char the fish and eat it. So there's this huge knock-on effect for something as innocuous as just like add fishing. Now just like a ripple effect.
Okay, final question. This is it. This is the big one. Boss fights. Will there be boss fights?
I'll say let's leave that as a surprise. Let's see where that goes.
Amazing. Well, Baron, there are a ton of community questions, but we would be here literally forever if we kept going. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. And Baron, thank you for stopping by. I'm sure everyone's going to have questions. And like I said before, I'm going to probably, if Baron comments, I will pin his comment at the very top. Ask him some intelligent questions, please. Avoid things like when is it coming to Quest 2. Avoid multiplayer things. And if someone has already asked it, try to avoid that one. But, feel free to ask things that maybe I've already asked that you want some additional notes on. But there's a ton more to come. I always thank Baron for stopping by and kind of adding to patch notes and just having a conversation. But listen, thank you so much for stopping by, Baron. Everyone else, thank you so much for stopping by and listening. Do all that YouTube stuff. But other than that, I'm Rob from Downloadable Content, and I will see you in the next video.